I always thought loneliness was a quiet thing, a hum in the background, like the radiator in winter. But tonight, it's a storm. Rain hammers the window, each drop a tiny fist. I watch the water streak down the glass, tracing crooked paths, racing to the warped wooden sill. The room is dark except for the blue glow of my phone. Emma's soft breathing comes from the other bed, steady, oblivious. I envy her, the way she can drift off even when the world is coming apart outside. I'm supposed to be grateful for this room. It's the last double, the housing office said, as if I should thank them for the privilege. I'd begged for a single, needed it really. But here I am, sharing space, sharing air, sharing the sense that I'm always one step away from being seen too clearly. Emma's desk is cluttered with textbooks and highlighters, a mug with a chipped handle. My own side is bare, a single lamp, a stack of unread novels, a notebook with nothing but lists of things I'll never do. My phone vibrates. James again. Coffee tomorrow. The message is simple, harmless, but it sits in my chest like a stone. I type, delete, type again. Maybe. Sorry, busy. Rain check? Each version feels like a lie. I settle for nothing, let the cursor blink until the screen times out. I scroll Instagram instead. Engagement rings, moving trucks, people tangled together at parties. I double tap a photo of two girls on a rooftop, wine glasses raised, then immediately regret it. My thumb hovers over the heart, wishing I could take it back. Emma stirs, muttering, "Study group, 9. She turns over, face pressed into her pillow. I realize I haven't spoken to her in days, not really. She tried at first, invited me to dinner, asked about my classes, left sticky notes with smiley faces. I pretended to sleep, headphones in, eyes closed. I told myself I needed space, but the truth is, I don't know how to let anyone close enough to matter. The rain intensifies, a roar now. I glance at the window and freeze. My reflection is wrong. At first, it's just a lag, a blink, a tilt of the head, a shadow where there shouldn't be. I lift my hand. The reflection follows, but a heartbeat too late. I look away, pretending not to notice, but my reflection keeps staring, eyes locked on mine even as I turn. The glass warps, distorts. For a moment, I see Emma's reflection, but it's me, my face, my hair, standing where she should be. I blink hard. When I look back, something's changed in the room. In the far corner, where Emma's desk should be, a spiral staircase rises, impossibly tall, winding up through the ceiling into darkness. The wood is dark, ancient, the banister carved with symbols I can't quite focus on. I glance at Emma. Her bed is empty. Panic claws at my throat. I call her name, but the sound is wrong, echoing as if the room has grown cavernous. Then I hear it, a voice from above, cold and certain, but undeniably my own. "Come up, I've been waiting." I spin, searching for the source, but my reflection is gone from the window. Instead, she stands on the first step of the staircase, lips curled in a smile I've never worn, eyes bright with something like hunger. She lifts a hand, beckoning. I take a step forward, heart pounding. The air smells of rain and old wood. I reach out and touch the banister. Splinters bite my skin, grounding me in the strangeness. I glance back, hoping for Emma, for the comfort of another human presence. But there's only emptiness. The bed neatly made, as if she was never here. My reflection, my other self, waits on the stairs, patient, certain. The rain beats harder, drowning out my thoughts. I want to run, to hide, but my feet move on their own. The rules I've lived by, keep your distance, never let anyone in, feel suddenly flimsy, like paper masks. I place my foot on the first step. The wood groans beneath me. My reflection smiles wider. "It's time," she says, and her voice is mine, but colder, stronger, unafraid. I climb, not knowing if I'm chasing myself or being hunted by the version of me that never learned to be alone. The first step creaks beneath my weight, the sound swallowed by the rain's relentless drumming. I half expect the staircase to vanish, for the room to snap back to normal, for Emma to yawn and ask why I'm up so late. But the spiral is solid beneath my feet, the air colder as I climb. Shadows coil around the banister, flickering in time with my pulse. My reflection, my other self, ascends ahead of me, always just out of reach, her footsteps silent, her hair swinging with a confidence I've never felt. I glance over my shoulder, hoping for a glimpse of the familiar. My desk, Emma's mug, the posters on the wall. But the dorm room is gone, replaced by a void so deep it makes my stomach lurch. I try to count the steps, but they twist and double back, folding in on themselves like a Mobius strip. The air grows thick, heavy with the scent of wet earth and something metallic. My skin prickles. I keep climbing, driven by a mix of dread and curiosity, the urge to see where this impossible staircase leads. After what feels like hours, though my phone claims only minutes, I reach a landing. The space is dim, lit by a single swinging bulb that casts warped shadows across the walls. I see her then, another Maya, sitting on the edge of a bed that looks eerily like mine. She wears my old high school hoodie, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. She looks up, eyes rimmed red. "You left," she says, voice trembling. "You could have stayed. You could have tried." I want to protest, to tell her I had to go, that staying would have meant suffocating. But the words catch in my throat. She stands, crossing the room in 2 strides, her face inches from mine. "You're always running," she whispers. "You never choose anyone, not really." Her hand brushes my arm, cold as ice. I flinch, stumbling back onto the stairs. The spiral twists again, drawing me upward. The next landing is brighter, filled with laughter and the clink of glasses. Another Maya stands at the center, surrounded by friends I almost recognize, faces from old photos, people I pushed away. She glows with something like joy, but her eyes are hollow, her smile brittle. "This is what you wanted, isn't it?" she asks, voice sharp. "To be loved, to belong. But you never let yourself stay long enough to find out if it's real." I try to step past her, but the crowd closes in, their hands grasping, their voices overlapping in a rising tide of accusation. "Why didn't you call? Why did you leave? Why can't you just let someone in?" I shove through, breathless, heart hammering. The staircase narrows, the air thick with the scent of old perfume and burnt toast. Memories of mornings I spent alone, pretending not to hear Emma's invitations, not to see James's hopeful glances. I climb faster, desperate to escape the chorus of my own regrets. The next landing is a maze of mirrors. Each pane reflects a different future. In one, I'm married, a ring heavy on my finger, children tugging at my sleeves. My smile is tight, my eyes tired. In another, I'm alone in a high-rise apartment, surrounded by books and silence. Success, independence, but a loneliness so sharp it cuts. The reflections argue, voices overlapping in a cacophony of should have and could be. I press my hands to my ears, but the noise seeps through. 1,000 versions of myself debating which path is right. I stagger forward, searching for an exit. The mirrors stretch on, warping and multiplying, each one a doorway to a life I might have lived if I'd made different choices. I see myself with Emma, laughing over coffee, with James, holding hands in the rain, alone, always alone, the spiral staircase winding behind me. I try to retrace my steps, to find the way back to my dorm room, but the staircase has changed. It now spirals downward, the steps slick with condensation, vanishing into a darkness that pulses with the sound of distant voices. I hear them all. Every friend I ghosted, every lover I pushed away, every family member I left behind. Their words echo up from the depths, accusing, pleading, reminding me of every connection I refused. Time slips sideways. My phone says it's still 2:13 a.m., but my body aches as if I've been climbing for days. My reflection appears in a mirror at the next landing, her eyes wild. "You can't go back," she says. "You never could." Her lips twist into a smirk. "But you can keep climbing. Maybe you'll find what you're looking for at the top." I hesitate, torn between the urge to flee and the compulsion to know what waits above. The rules I've lived by, never commit, never depend, feel like chains now, binding me to this endless spiral. The staircase groans beneath me, the void pressing in from all sides. I take another step, and the mirrors shatter, raining shards that dissolve before they hit the ground. My reflection is gone, but her voice lingers, whispering from the shadows. "Up or down, Maya. It's all the same in the end." I climb, breath ragged, heart raw, the spiral tightening around me like a noose. The rain outside is gone, replaced by a silence so deep it feels alive. The only sound is my own footsteps, echoing into infinity. The silence is suffocating. My ears ring with the absence of sound, as if the world has been vacuum sealed. I keep climbing, each step heavier than the last, my legs trembling from exhaustion and dread. The spiral tightens, the air thinning, until I emerge into a vast circular chamber that shouldn't fit inside any building, let alone my dorm. The walls pulse with a faint, otherworldly light, and the floor is slick with something that looks like oil but smells faintly of lilies and rust. At the center of the chamber, a tribunal waits. They sit in a perfect circle, throned on chairs that seem to be carved from bone and glass, their faces shifting and flickering in the dim light. For a moment, I recognize them. David, my first boyfriend, his smile too wide. Priya, my freshman roommate, her eyes glinting with disappointment. Even my mother, her features melting into something unrecognizable. But as I stare, their faces ripple and distort, eyes replaced by clusters of glistening tentacles, mouths splitting into too many rows of teeth, voices harmonizing in chords that make my skin crawl. They speak as one, their words vibrating through my bones. "Maya Chen, you have been summoned for judgment. The charge, perpetual isolation. The sentence, to be determined." I try to speak, but my voice cracks, swallowed by the vastness of the chamber. The tribunal gestures, and the air shimmers. Suddenly, I'm reliving every relationship I've ever sabotaged, every friendship I let rot on the vine. I see myself with James, laughing in the library, then turning cold, inventing reasons to leave. I see Priya, offering me a slice of birthday cake, my refusal sharp enough to wound. I see David, pleading with me to stay, my silence a wall he could never climb. The memories overlap, playing out in a dizzying montage. Some are real. I remember the sting of guilt, the relief of escape. Others feel wrong, twisted. In one, I see myself screaming at David, telling him I never loved him. In another, I watch as I hug Priya, promising we'll always be close. I can't tell which memories are mine and which are fabrications, planted by the tribunal to confuse and condemn me. The voices swell, a chorus of accusation and regret. You could have chosen connection. You could have chosen vulnerability. Instead, you chose the spiral, endless, empty, safe. Their words pierce me, each syllable a needle threading through old wounds. I want to protest, to explain that I'm not heartless, just scared. But the tribunal isn't interested in excuses. They show me moments where a single act of commitment, a returned call, a shared secret, a simple yes, could have changed everything. I watch myself hesitate, retreat, build walls higher and higher until no one could reach me. The chamber grows colder, the light dimming. The tribunal leans forward, their faces blurring into a single, monstrous visage. "You must choose," they intone. "Return to your life, but only if you make a binding commitment to one person. Romantic or platonic, it matters not. The bond cannot be broken. If you refuse, or if you break the bond, you will remain here, another reflection in our collection." My heart pounds. Who do I have to choose? The tribunal's laughter is 1,000 voices, all mocking. You must choose blind. The name will be drawn from your memories, but you will not know who it is until the commitment is made. This is the test. This is the price. I try to stall, to reason with them, but the chamber begins to spin. The spiral staircase reappears, winding up and down, vanishing into darkness at both ends. The tribunal gestures, and a door appears at the far side of the room. Decide, Maya. The spiral does not wait. I stagger toward the door, my mind racing. Who would I choose if I could? Emma, who tried to be my friend. James, who never gave up. My mother, whose love I never trusted. Or would I choose no one, clinging to the safety of solitude even as it destroys me? My hands shake as I reach for the door. The voices swell, a tide of longing and accusation. Choose, Maya, choose or be chosen. I close my eyes, the weight of every missed connection pressing down on me. I whisper a name, not knowing whose it is, only that it feels both foreign and achingly familiar. The door creaks open, and I step through, the spiral tightening behind me, the tribunal's laughter echoing in my ears. The world blurs, reality slipping through my fingers like water. I am falling, climbing, spinning, lost in the endless recursion of my own choices. The only constant is the spiral, winding ever upward, ever inward, a maze with no center, no escape. I open my eyes, and the next chamber awaits. I step through the door and stagger, dizzy, into a room that is, impossibly, my dorm again. For a moment, hope flares. Maybe the tribunal was a nightmare. Maybe I'll wake up to Emma's alarm and the clatter of rain on glass. But the air is wrong, too still, too cold. My breath fogs in front of me. The fluorescent light overhead flickers, casting the room in a sickly, stuttering glow. Everything is doubled, tripled. The beds, the desks, the windows, each one multiplied, stretching into the distance like a hall of mirrors. I blink and the room fractures, splitting into infinite versions of itself, each occupied by a different Maya. Some sit hunched over laptops, headphones clamped tight. Others pace, muttering to themselves. A few stare out the window, faces blank, eyes hollow. Their movements are synchronized, a grotesque ballet of isolation. I try to speak, but my voice comes out in a dozen registers, overlapping and discordant. The other Mayas turn to look at me, their gazes sharp, accusing. "You did this," they say in unison, voices echoing from every corner. "You chose this." I back away, but there's nowhere to go. The walls pulse, breathing in time with my heartbeat. The spiral staircase rises in the center of the room, taller now, the steps slick with condensation. The banister is carved with new symbols, fractals, endlessly repeating patterns that make my eyes ache to look at them. A figure steps from the shadows. It's Emma, or someone wearing her shape. She smiles, but her teeth are too sharp, her eyes too deep. "Did you ever wonder why I never left?" she asks, her voice velvet in venom. "Why I was always here when you needed someone to ignore?" I try to answer, but she cuts me off. "I'm not real, Maya. I never was. I was built for you. The perfect test, the perfect opportunity for connection. Every time you shut me out, you fed them." She gestures, and the walls dissolve, revealing an endless network of mirrors. In each one, a student sits alone, eyes glazed, surrounded by infinite versions of themselves. Some weep, some rage, most simply stare, numb and defeated. The cosmic entities flicker into view, their forms shifting between human and inhuman, faces melting and reforming. "We feed on your fear," they say, their voices a chorus of hunger. Every act of isolation, every refusal of connection makes us stronger. You are not the first, nor will you be the last. Emma's form shudders, flickering like a bad signal. "You thought you were protecting yourself, but you are building your own prison. The staircase, it only goes where you let it. Up when you run, down when you reach out. But you never finish either journey. You're trapped in the middle, forever circling, never arriving." I want to scream, to deny it, but the evidence is all around me. The other Mayas begin to chant, their voices rising in a tidal wave of accusation. "You could have chosen connection. You could have chosen risk. Instead, you chose the spiral." The cosmic entities approach, their forms towering, shadows stretching to fill the room. We are the architects of loneliness. Every time you looked away, every time you said, "Maybe later," you gave us power. We are legion, and you are legion with us. I stumble toward the staircase, desperate to escape, but the steps multiply beneath my feet, fractaling into infinity. Each step is occupied by another Maya, each one frozen in a moment of decision, hesitating at a party invitation, deleting a text, closing a door. Their faces blur, merging into a single, endless mask of regret. Emma's voice follows me, soft now, almost kind. "You can still choose, Maya. The staircase isn't a prison, it's a path, but you have to walk it. You have to decide." I reach for the banister, my hand trembling. The wood is warm now, pulsing with a heartbeat that matches my own. The symbols shift, resolving into words I almost recognize. Connection is risk. Isolation is certainty. Choose. The other Mayas begin to fade, their forms dissolving into mist. The room shrinks, the walls closing in, until I'm alone again. Truly alone. For the first time in what feels like years. The silence is absolute, crushing. I close my eyes, the weight of every missed opportunity pressing down on me. I see Emma's face, James's hopeful smile, my mother's worried eyes. I see the spiral, winding ever upward, ever inward. I see myself, at every age, at every crossroads, always choosing the safe path, always ending up alone. The cosmic entities whisper, their voices curling around me like smoke. It's not too late. The staircase is still here. The choice is yours. I open my eyes, and the spiral waits. The spiral waits, patient as hunger. I grip the banister, feeling the pulse beneath the wood, a heartbeat that's not quite mine, not quite foreign. The silence is so deep it aches in my teeth. I take a step, then another, and the world peels away. The dorm room collapses behind me like a stage set struck at the end of a play. I'm climbing through nothingness, the steps suspended in a void that smells of ozone and old secrets. As I ascend, the air thickens with whispers. They slither into my ears, voices overlapping, some pleading, some mocking. You're not alone, Maya. You never were. We've been watching. We've been waiting. My skin crawls. I try to block them out, but the voices are inside me, memories and fears braided together. Suddenly, the staircase splits. I'm standing at a crossroads. One path spirals up, the other down. Both are endless, both shimmer with the same sickly light. I hesitate, and the void flickers. The world reforms around me, but it's not my dorm. It's a laboratory, impossibly vast, filled with rows of mirrors and screens. Reflections flicker on every surface, students, strangers, all climbing their own impossible staircases, some alone, some together, all watched by shadows that move just out of sight. The cosmic entities materialize, their forms more defined now, humanoid, but wrong. Their skin ripples with shifting patterns. Their eyes are voids, their mouths too wide, too knowing. Welcome to the experiment, they say in perfect unison. You are not a prisoner. You are a subject. Every choice, every hesitation, every refusal to connect. Data. We study you, Maya. We study all of you. I stagger back, heart pounding. Why me? I manage, my voice small in the cavernous space. One entity steps forward, its face flickering between Emma, James, my mother, and a dozen strangers. You are ideal. Your fear of commitment is exquisite. You crave connection, yet you run from it. You are the perfect contradiction. We learn from you. I want to scream, to deny it, but the evidence is everywhere. Screens replay moments from my life. Me turning away from Emma's smile, deleting James's texts, ignoring calls from home. Each act of isolation is cataloged, analyzed, savored. The entity gestures and the mirrors shift. I see other students, some I recognize from campus, others strangers, each trapped in their own spirals. Some have chosen connection. Their reflections are bright, their staircases straight. Others, like me, are tangled in endless loops, their images fractured and dim. A girl with short hair and haunted eyes appears beside me. You're new, she says, her voice brittle. I've been here for months, or maybe minutes. Time doesn't work right here. She laughs, the sound sharp as broken glass. Some of us pass the test, most don't. What's the test? I ask, desperate for something solid. She shrugs. It's not about finding the right person. It's about choosing anyone, about risking pain, even when you know it might not be real. The entities don't care who you pick. They care that you pick. The cosmic entities nod, their faces splitting into too many smiles. Connection is risk. Vulnerability is data. Isolation is also data, but less interesting. Will you choose, Maya, or will you spiral forever? The girl squeezes my hand. Her skin is cold, almost translucent. If you choose, you might get out. If you don't. She glances at the mirrors, where dozens of Mayas stare back, eyes empty. You become a reflection, part of the network. I look around. Every reflective surface is alive with images, students, entities, endless staircases. I realize now that every time I avoided my own reflection, every time I looked away from a mirror or a window, I was avoiding them, avoiding myself. The entities step back, giving me space. The choice is yours. Stay and study with us, or return and risk connection. Or spiral on, alone. All outcomes are valuable. The laboratory flickers, reality thinning. I see my dorm room, Emma's empty bed, James's unread message. I see myself, alone at every crossroads, always choosing the safe path. The girl squeezes my hand again. Don't make the same mistake I did. Choose something, anything. The spiral shimmers, beckoning. The entities wait, patient as eternity. I take a breath, and step forward. I step forward and the world buckles, the laboratory dissolving into a smear of light and shadow. For a heartbeat, I'm nowhere, weightless, unmoored, a thought without a body. Then the spiral materializes beneath my feet, solid and cold, winding through a space that's neither void nor room, but something in between. The air is thick with static, the taste of metal on my tongue. I sense the cosmic entities watching, their presence a pressure behind my eyes. Time fractures. I see myself at every age, every moment of hesitation and retreat, every time I chose silence over risk. The spiral pulses, alive with memory. I feel the weight of all my choices, the ache of every connection I denied. The girl from the laboratory is gone, her hand slipping from mine like mist. I'm alone again, but the loneliness is different now, sharper, more urgent. A voice cuts through the static, clear and familiar. Maya. I turn, and James stands at the base of the spiral, his face pale but determined. He looks as lost as I feel, but there's a steadiness in his eyes that wasn't there before. You're here too, he says, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. I want to ask how, but the words tangle in my throat. The entities ripple at the edge of my vision, their forms shifting, watching us with hungry curiosity. James steps closer, his hands shaking. They gave me a choice. I could go back, knowing I'd always be watched, or I could stay and study with them, or... He trails off, searching my face. Or I could try to connect, for real, even if it's all a test. The spiral shudders beneath us, the air tightening. The entities speak, their voices overlapping in a chorus that vibrates in my bones. The final test. 3 choices. Return to observation, join our study, or risk authentic connection. Choose Maya Chen. Choose James Lee. James looks at me, his fear naked, his hope raw. I don't know if you're real, he whispers. I don't know if I am, but I want to try, even if it's just another layer of the experiment. My heart pounds. I remember every moment I pushed him away, every invitation I left unanswered. I remember Emma's smile, my mother's worried calls, the endless spiral of almost connection. The entities wait, patient and silent. I close my eyes, searching for some anchor. The rules I've lived by, never commit, never trust, feel brittle, hollow. I think of the other Mayas, the endless reflections, all trapped by fear. I think of the girl in the laboratory, her warning echoing in my mind. Choose something, anything. I open my eyes and reach for James's hand. His fingers are warm, trembling. The spiral pulses, the air crackling with possibility. The entities lean in, their forms blurring, anticipation radiating from them like heat. James squeezes my hand, his voice barely a whisper. Whatever happens, at least we're not alone. The spiral begins to dissolve, the steps crumbling into mist. The entities' voices swell, a symphony of curiosity and hunger. Connection achieved, data collected, observation continues. The world blurs, reality slipping sideways. I see flashes of my dorm room, the campus, the rain on glass. I see myself reflected in every window, every mirror, always reaching, always hesitating. But this time, I don't let go. The spiral collapses, the void swallowing us whole. For a moment, there is nothing, no time, no space, only the sensation of falling and holding on. Then the world snaps back into place. I'm in my dorm room. The rain has stopped. Sunlight streams through the window, painting the floor in gold. Emma sits at her desk, humming softly, her reflection perfectly synchronized with her movements. James stands by the door, a tentative smile on his lips. My phone buzzes. A message from James. Coffee today? I know you'll say yes this time. I look up, meeting his eyes. For the first time, I feel the possibility of something real. The spiral is gone, but its echo lingers, a reminder of what it costs to choose and what it might mean to try. The entities are still watching. I can feel them just beyond the edge of perception. But for now, I am here. I am present. I am not alone. Sunlight is supposed to feel warm, reassuring, but as it pours through the window, I shiver. The golden light feels thin, artificial, like a spotlight on a stage. Emma glances up from her desk, her smile easy, unburdened. Morning, Maya. You coming to class? She stretches, her reflection in the glass perfectly matching her movements. For a moment, I almost believe everything is normal. But the spiral's echo lingers, a pressure in my chest, a faint vibration beneath my skin. I can't shake the sensation of being watched, measured, catalogued. Every reflection in the room seems to flicker, just for an instant, as if something else is looking out through my eyes. I catch my own gaze in the window, and for a heartbeat, my reflection doesn't move. It just stares, lips parted in silent warning. James's message glows on my phone. Coffee today. I know you'll say yes this time. I reread it, my fingers hovering over the screen. I never told him about my habit of declining, of crafting excuses and letting invitations rot in my inbox. How could he know? Unless the spiral never truly ended. Unless the experiment is still running, just with new parameters. I look up, and James stands in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder. He looks real, messy hair, nervous smile, the faintest shadow under his eyes. Hey, he says, voice soft. Ready? I want to say yes. I want to step into the sunlight, to believe this is the world I left behind. But I see him reflected in the window, standing behind me, even though he's in front of me. His reflection smiles, but the eyes are wrong, too bright, too knowing, as if something else is wearing his face. Emma stands, slinging her bag over her shoulder. You coming, or are you going to keep running from everything? Her voice is gentle, but there's an edge to it, a challenge I can't ignore. She waits by the door, her reflection wavering just for a second, before snapping back into place. I slip on my shoes, my movements stiff, uncertain. I follow them out into the hallway, the air thick with the scent of rain and something metallic. The campus is alive with students, laughter echoing off the brick walls. But as I approach the main staircase, my heart stutters. The old straight stairs are gone. In their place is a spiral staircase, identical to the one from my visions. Students ascend and descend, their bodies flickering, becoming translucent for a split second with each step. Some glance at their reflections in the polished railings, their eyes wide with recognition or fear. Others don't notice at all, lost in their own spirals. I hesitate at the bottom, the world tilting around me. My reflection in the glass beside the stairs is already at the top, waving me up with a smile that's both inviting and chilling. Emma appears at my side, her hand warm on my arm. It's just stairs, Maya. We all climb them. It's part of being here. But I can't tell if she's real, a cosmic projection, or something else entirely. The rules I thought I understood, about connection, about safety, feel like traps, designed to keep me circling, never arriving. I glance at James. He nods, encouraging, but his reflection lingers a beat too long, lips moving in a silent message I can't quite decipher. I place my foot on the first step. The wood is solid, but the world shimmers, reality bending around me. For a moment, I see the campus from above, every building threaded with spiral staircases, every student climbing in perfect synchronization, their movements orchestrated, studied, recorded. I realize then, there is no escape from the spiral. Whether I choose connection or isolation, trust or fear, every step is data, every choice another turn in the experiment. The cosmic entities are always watching, always learning, always hungry. As I climb, my reflection waits at the top, waving me onward. Emma's voice echoes behind me. Are you coming to class, or are you going to keep running from everything? I look back, but she's already halfway up, her form flickering, dissolving into the crowd. I keep climbing, the spiral tightening, the world blurring. I don't know if I'm ascending or descending, if I'm escaping or surrendering. All I know is that the experiment continues, and I am both subject and observer, prisoner and participant. The spiral never ends.